Today, we have some absolutely breaking news for millions of UK pensioners. A major announcement has just come out from the Department for Work and Pensions, and it could affect your state pension and your winter fuel payment. If you or someone you care about is receiving the state pension, or if you're about to reach pension age, please stay with me, because this update could make the difference between receiving an extra £300 this winter or losing out completely. Yes, you heard that correctly. The government's highly publicised promise of a £300 winter fuel payment, the money that was meant to help older people cover their heating costs, this winter is now under serious threat for certain groups of pensioners. And the most shocking part, some pensioners who thought they would automatically receive this help could now find themselves blocked entirely. In this extended update, we're going to cover everything you need to know in detail, the background of the winter fuel payment and why it's so important, the new rules and restrictions announced by the DWP for 2025/26, the 4 groups of pensioners who will be excluded, why the government is making this change now and the real reason behind it, real-world examples of pensioners who will be affected, how to check if you're on the exclusion list, what you can do if you believe you should still qualify, and finally, the wider implications for pensioners across Britain, including possible political fallout and future changes. This isn't just about a single payment. This is about how pensioners are treated in a cost of living crisis, when many are already forced to choose between heating their homes and putting food on the table. Welcome to Pensioners Power, your trusted source for everything you need to know about pensions, retirement planning, and financial wellness. Here, we cover the latest news, expert insights, and essential updates to help you maximize your retirement years. Whether it's understanding pension schemes, making the most of your savings, or staying informed about financial changes, you're in the right place. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an important update. Now, let's jump right into today's topic. Before we get into the changes, let's quickly remind ourselves what the winter fuel payment actually is. The winter fuel payment is a long-standing government scheme designed to provide extra financial help for older people during the coldest months of the year. It's a lifeline for millions of pensioners. Here's how it usually works. Every winter, eligible pensioners automatically receive a one-off payment. The amount depends on your circumstances, typically ranging from £250 to £600 for the oldest pensioners. In recent years, the government has added extra cost of living top-ups, including the additional £300 supplement that is now at the centre of this controversy. The idea is simple. As energy bills rise in the winter, the government steps in to make sure pensioners don't have to suffer in freezing homes. For many, it's not a luxury. It's the difference between life and death in the coldest months. But this year, the rules have changed. Originally, the government had promised that this £300 top-up would reach all pensioners who qualified for the winter fuel payment. That's how it was framed: simple, straightforward, and universal. But now the Department for Work and Pensions has issued a clarification, essentially a U-turn. They've confirmed that not all pensioners will receive the £300 payment. Certain groups are now excluded, despite previous expectations. This has come as a shock. Advocacy groups are calling it a betrayal and warning that thousands of older people could be left out in the cold. Why the sudden change? Officials are pointing to cost controls, eligibility clarifications, and statutory restrictions. But critics say this is simply a way to cut government spending at the expense of pensioners. So let's get specific. According to the DWP's new rules, here are the 4 groups of pensioners who will no longer qualify for the £300 winter fuel payment in 2025/26. Pensioners in hospital or care homes for the full qualifying period. If you spend all of the qualifying weeks in hospital or in a residential care home, you will not receive the £300 top-up. Now, this is particularly controversial. Imagine someone who has paid into the system all their lives, but because they are hospitalized for a few weeks in winter, they suddenly lose out. Critics argue this punishes the most vulnerable, the very people the scheme was designed to help: pensioners living outside England or Wales. The rules also change depending on where you live. In Scotland and Northern Ireland, winter fuel payments are administered differently, and in some cases, pensioners living abroad will not qualify at all. This means that a British pensioner who moved abroad years ago could lose the £300 support, even though they are still drawing a UK state pension. Pensioners born after the cut-off date. This is one of the most straightforward exclusions, but also one of the most unfair. If you were born after 22 and September 1959, you will not automatically receive the £300. So, for example, someone turning 65 this year might be shocked to learn that they've just missed the cutoff by days or even hours. Pensioners failing residency or presence rules. Finally, there are restrictions based on where you were physically present during the qualifying weeks. If you were abroad for too long, or if you don't meet the strict habitation rules, you will be excluded. This could affect people who temporarily travel abroad during winter, for example, to visit family or for health reasons. We're talking about £300 per person. On the surface, that may not sound like life-changing money, but let's put this into context. For someone on the basic state pension of £169, 50p per week, that £300 equals nearly 2 full weeks of income. For a pensioner already struggling with heating costs of £200 or more per month, this could cover an entire month's energy bills. For many older people on fixed incomes, it's the difference between staying warm and safe or shivering through the night in dangerous cold. Charities have warned that fuel poverty already affects more than 2.4 million pensioner households in the UK. Removing £300 of support could push many more into hardship. To bring this home, let's look at some real-world scenarios. Mrs. Smith, age 65, was born in October 1959, just after the September cut-off. She lives in England, has paid national insurance all her life, and now relies solely on her state pension. But because of her date of birth, she won't get the £300. Mr. Khan, age 78, spent 6 weeks in hospital this winter following surgery. Normally, he would qualify for the winter fuel payment, but because his hospital stay covered the qualifying weeks, he's excluded. Mrs. Brown, aged 83, lives in Wales. During the qualifying period, she visited family abroad. Her absence disqualifies her, even though she has lived in the UK all her life. Each of these examples shows how ordinary pensioners could be excluded, often through no fault of their own. Here are 4 simple steps you can take right now. Check your date of birth. Were you born before 22 September 1959? If not, you won't automatically qualify. Check your living situation. Were you in hospital or a care home during the qualifying weeks? Check your residency. Were you present in the UK for the full qualifying period? If unsure, contact the DWP. The official government website has detailed eligibility rules for the winter fuel payment. If you believe you should still qualify, don't give up. Here's what you can do. Lodge a formal appeal or query with the Department for Work and Pensions. Gather evidence, proof of residence, hospital records, travel documents. Seek advice from pensioner advocacy groups or charities, such as Age UK or Citizens Advice. Look into alternative support schemes, including pension credit, cold weather payments, or local council energy support. This decision is not just about one payment. It speaks to a much bigger issue: how pensioners are treated in a time of rising costs. Let's not forget, food prices are still high. Energy bills remain unpredictable. Inflation may be falling, but the cost of living is still far above what many pensioners can afford. By cutting back on support, like the winter fuel payment, the government risks pushing thousands more pensioners into poverty. Already, campaigners are calling this a stealth cut and warning that it could spark a political backlash. Some MPs are even urging the government to reconsider before winter begins. Thank you for watching Pensioners Power. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you in the next video with more insights on the issues that affect the UK. Take care, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for all the latest updates.